Hello, everyone. Here we are for this first session. GWCN, the Global Walkability Correspondence Network, tried insights with media. The idea for this session was born actually at a really small network meeting between some folks who are here today, Vanny, Corey, Raluca, and Alan. We were all in a session chatting about some things, and the idea of media philosophy came up, and the media philosophy behind people's social media accounts, their origin stories as well. We have over 200 people in this network in cities across the world. We have network members across the Americas and South America, Central America, North America, as well as the Middle East, Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania, Australia. So we have really diverse network base, and many of our network members also produce media of their own, be it through some social media platform or print media or website. And we wanted to start featuring these members and learning about the diverse media ecosystem that this network reaches into with all of our representation. So I'm going to turn it over to Cincinnati-based Vanny of Urban Hikers, who is the co-host for this session. We will also be featuring Saskatoon-based Dominic of More Than Transit, and we might have a guest appearance later on. We will see. We also have two more of these sessions coming up. On Sunday, we will have another Tribe Insights for the Media session with three correspondents in India, and also next week, another session. So keep a lookout on the Pedestrian Space YouTube channel for all of these sessions that are going to be rich with a lot of perspectives. So Vanny.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Vanny, and we all drift through these two process, which is media and philosophy. Is as broader as it gets. So, and hope is so we can journey together to see how each individual approach those two things, and what kind of message they love. So their idea or the thing, the champion, to sort of emerge above the noise. So, and there's no, it's informal, formal. So it's going to be question and insight. So sometimes when, another way to think about it is like we are leading this, we are going on a walk together. Then each person has a segment. When they lead, they understand that segment better than anyone. So that's kind of the format I would like to approach. And at least at the end, we can get as much, maximize each other competency and to understand each other insight. Each person can introduce themselves, where they're located, and what they would like to champion, what idea they champion currently. So I'll start with myself. I'm Vanny, and walking has been something that champion a lot in my community. Is us against car, is us against non-sidewalk. So the things I champion is a walkability for my city, which is as an important element for quality of life. And yes, next.
So we're going to turn it over to Dom next, who's one of the featured members. And then, so this session is meant to feature a few different members. So Vanny will come back to you as well. If you have anything you want to share
yes.
visually, I think that'd be great. So
yes.
Dominic, let's turn it over to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dominic. I'm in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. It's a very Canadian city, very Canadian and winter city, famously known for -40 and -50 in the winter. And I run a little blog called More Than Transit. It's all about a blog about urban planning, urbanism, walkability, and accessibility. However, all of I left out the main component here, which is transit, because I want to like touch base on that later on. And you see why. So I've just always been like interested in public transportation as a kid. I always loved to like ride buses and ride trains, and later on I decided like, oh, why don't I write about it? Why don't I make a blog about it? But then I realized that transit is more than just buses, more than just trains. So that's why I started talking about walkability and accessibility and also urban planning. And somehow those topics kind of like blew up. So that's why I call my blog More Than Transit, because it's basically more than transit, right there in the name.
Beautiful. All right. So yes, next person.
Okay, so Vanny, that would be you. Today you are our 2 feet. And please, we can bring up screens too to showcase. We can even do a share screen of your Instagram accounts and go explore a little bit. I think adding the visual will be really nice today.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, please bear with us. And I think this is sort of an improvisation to this session. So good. My name is Vanny. So I've started urban hiking 7 years ago with 3 of my close friends. Initially was a book club. The only difference is we've decided to take our discussion on a road. So we will go on a long walk to go discuss what we read. But what is fascinating is we approach the unknown the same way, where some of the discussion was not planned, and also the location or the place we go explore wasn't also planned. So there was we're confronting with 2 elements at the same times. Yes, there you go. Thank you for yes, beautiful. So yeah, this is a little bit yes, the urban hiker Instagram, and the intention behind the yellow. There's a lot of meaning about the color for people. So yellow is sort of warm. Is a warm color, is an inviting, is vibrant, and that is what kind of exploration does to the mind, right? Is ignited us to explore, to be to go a little bit deeper. So my philosophy is to sort of maintain a consistency in a palette, and also aim to highlight the element of exploration. And like you can see here, there's quite a large, diverse people that usually come. I don't know if it's byproduct of the branding element, but has given me quite a lot of insights into my city and understanding the folks that come to work with us. On a personal level, myself, I've been an immigrant, and from Congo. I've been in the United States, especially in Cincinnati, for over 18 years. Walking has been the only tools I've used to accelerate my sense of belonging. So belonging is all about finding your tribe. Sometimes belonging is also finding a place where you feel kinship with. Recently, I thought the way I look at it now is like I'm almost like a real estate agent for the outside, where I help people and myself to finding place that resonate better with my psyche. You'd be surprised sometimes going to a specific neighborhood can automatically trigger a sort of a sense of peace, a sense of curiosity, and those are settle, and those kind of the things I enjoy, and my social media is a reflection of that. Is a reflection of visual interest. So meaning I let, because we are when you explore, I have this thing called a high resolution and low speed. So when you're walking, like you're walking the slowest, but you also have the highest resolutions. So there's the visual is sort of the indicing part that lets you go in and sort of be intrigued by what you see. So that is sort of my approach to social media, and is to 90% visual, because the interaction of the spaces can be internal for people. It depends for each person when you go different places, and how is related to that. And another point I was trying to make also in the context of where I live in Cincinnati, because walking here has a different connotation to it. And it was important for me to understand, to soften a little bit my media philosophy, because as a being a Black person in America, especially if you go in a group, here it can seem like a march against something. So, and that can automatically position people in certain against the idea right away without even approach it. So so early on there was the intention to sort of soften a little bit that approach. And one of the things that I'm quite familiar with from Congo, we have a movement in Congo. It's called sapology. Sapology, after World War II, there were a bunch of Congolese soldiers who fight against for the French. After the war was over, those fighters came back home. But before they went back, they were given money, so they bought a lot of clothes in Paris. So they was extremely fashionable. So they bought a lot of fashions. So when they got back home, they came by with a lot of clothes, but there wasn't enough party to accommodate everyone clothing accessoires. So they used to just to go on the street and to go walk, and they would dress up to the T and just go walk in different neighborhoods. And for their, so if somebody's well dressed, it's less intimidating, right? Because see, if somebody the dynamics change. If you see a group of people, it's like a fashion show on the road, so it's less intimidated. So early on for me, it was also a conscious choice to sort of remain a little bit fashionable. Is a way to a soft power, not to make people standoffish with, especially when you have a group of us who's walking early on. So we make sure it was slightly fashionable, intentionally so, to because of the context of where it was taking place. But anyway, yeah, overall, that has been sort of my philosophy, and also it's always to make people interested by the movement, and because walking has extremely element of benefits, and so I cannot name. We all know too well. So for quality of life and things of that nature. Yes, I would like to hear more about. Yes, Dominic, where is yes.
Yeah, let me share. Dom, I'm gonna pull up your Instagram if that's okay, or do you prefer?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll go to Dom, and then let's give Dom some time to share, and then the end some time for questions. But let me open up your Insta, Dom. Here we go. More than transit.
So yeah, you can definitely see that it's not like unified in colors like
Nice.
yours. But so if you scroll back all the way to like it keeps scrolling down further and further to like the very first few posts that I posted. So I founded this account on December 30th, 2020. So it was during a COVID lockdown in Canada. And I was just like, I just felt so bored and I want to do something. So, and then like at first I was just like, oh, why don't I just like go out there and snap some photos of buses and public transit, and then like just have like a little collection of bus photos everywhere I go. So that's how it started. I basically just like went out there, snap photos of buses, and then post these photos like this. So it was, and then like it got boring to a point. At some point, I almost gave this blog up. It almost like went into the void after about 3 or 4 weeks because I basically can't go anywhere because of the lockdown to take photos. But then I realized that like, oh, I'm going into urban planning. I finally get to go back to school and study with and study like the real knowledge of urban planning. So why don't I share some knowledges of what I learned? And then basically, this blog is something that I do when I need to remember any concepts and definitions before midterms or final exams, because simply I believe that like trying to explain things in my own words, trying to put those definitions into an example will help me visualize and understand that concept more. So I started writing blogs about, so I started writing posts and making videos about walkability, about like SkyTrain station systems, about how Calgary Transit, which is another transit agency on in a city that's about 600 kilometers away from here, had their train system 100% using renewable energy, which is green energy. And that was something that I think that's my first educational post that I posted about this. And then later on in mid 2022, I started making short videos. And I think the first one blew up was the one about where that at that time I just remember that gas price was extremely high everywhere across Canada. And then people are complaining and they don't have any other places to go. So I basically made a video about what is the real solution to the gas price crisis, which is building better alternatives or alternatives to car, like biking, walking, or public transit. And that video somehow blew up. And I was like, okay. So I think making some short informational videos like this can be something that I talk about. So I started making scripts. I started making videos about back alleys in so for in case you don't know what a back alley is, which is it's basically like an alleyway, a pathway behind your houses. That's why it's called back alley. It's mostly for cars to access garages, but it's also used for pedestrians at some point. Also, and I also made videos about sidewalks. I also made videos about history of public transportation in Canada. And then I started expanding my platforms to TikTok and YouTube, although the TikTok has been inactive for about a few months now. I just cannot really handle the toxic energy from TikTok. And it's not really a useful platform to spread, to educate people, to spread my educational content there. So I focus more on YouTube and Instagram now. And then so exactly 2 years after it was founded, the YouTube channel More Than Transit was created, and I also upload some of the videos to. I also upload some of my short videos from Instagram and TikTok to the platform. But now I'm focusing on making longer videos because I simply just really enjoy the freedom of not having to cram so many concepts into one single video. So that's why I created the YouTube channel. And now it's at almost at 400 subscribers, although I've only like seriously get started with it about 2 months ago.
Wow.
And my philosophy is simple, like everybody can be an advocate, everybody can raise awareness, everybody can be an educator. There is no experts when you're on the internet environment. Anybody can know better than you. So there's no learning from the experts or like learning from the pros or the educators. And me sharing knowledges like this is also a way of um, talking about, it's also a way that I talk about like the things that I know and my perspectives and my experiences to a problem. And I also want to see the perspectives of somebody else. I also want to see the experience and the explanation from someone else about it. So, and anyone can be an advocate, anyone can, and raising awareness and educating and knowledge sharing has to start somewhere. And with the wide development of social media these days, it's so easy to do that. And as long as you are committed and as long as you have the willingness, and this willingness also maybe can be generated from some sort of emotional attachment. For example, I'm really emotionally attached to the city of Saskatoon. It has been a place that I've grown up. I have witnessed a lot of changes in myself. I've witnessed the changes in my characters, like basically the character development of myself, and it has grown up with me. So I just really feel like it's part of the it's really a part of my life, and that's why I want to advocate for to make the city better, because it deserves to be better. And not just Saskatoon, but many cities that I've visited in Canada also deserves to be better. And it's all for our own good in the future. It's all for the future generations. So a couple days ago, so just earlier this week, if you follow the YouTube channel Not Just Bikes, which talks about urbanism and stories in the story of Dutch stories and how Dutch cities get so good, he had a very controversial take, that people should give up on North America because should give up on advocate for better urbanism in North America. To which I find that it's a really troublesome, it's a really problematic, argument. And so I made a counter video about. I also made a counter video about why people should continue advocate for their city, should continue advocate for the urbanism, the walkability, and the accessibility that their city deserves. And regarding about the expectations of my content, honestly, I don't have much expectations. I just make the videos as part of my hobby, as part of my love for the city and my love for urban planning. And if people feel them helpful, then I'm glad. I'm really glad when I receive messages from people from many cities across the world saying that your content has changed my life, or you have really eye-opening experience, or you gave me like a deeper insight about my place, about urban planning, about accessibility, something that I've never been aware of. And that's really heartwarming. So sometimes I receive some, so basically now I feel like my expectation is to bring a lot of knowledge about urban planning to the surface level, because all the planners from generations, they have known this, but the public may not know. For example, a couple months ago, there was a protest in the city against the 15-minute city movement, and things got heated because people did not know what that is. So I really believe that my expectations now is basically to just spread the awareness, explaining the definitions and terms in urban planning and accessibility, just so that people can have a more a deeper understanding and a more insightful understanding of that before they decide to make decisions about it.
Thank you so much, Dominic. And we have the third featured member joining right now. I think he just landed
Right on time.
Really right on time. But please start thinking of questions. If you have them, you could drop them in the chat, and then also have a Q&A after we perhaps welcome Amnon. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Right in the nick of time.
Yes. Oh, wow. I
Right.
just landed, so sorry for the delay.
Right. We just spent some time exploring the @official urban hikers channel on Instagram, which is run by Vanny in Cincinnati, who presented, and we've been exploring more than transit with Saskatoon-based Dominic, and we also had for this session Brussels-based Amnon, who's a journalist. So if you'd like to share a little bit about how urbanism and issues of mobility relate to your work as a journalist.
Yes, of course. So hey everyone. I will do a really brief introduction of myself. I'm as a journalist, as Annika said, but I also have a background of architecture. So I studied architecture. I worked in this field, but parallel to this, all my life I was writing actually about topics like architecture, urbanism, climate change. So I'm doing it for the past 10 years. It's important maybe to say that I'm originally from Israel. I'm from Tel Aviv, born and raised from Tel Aviv, and in the past 3 years I live in Brussels. So I'm now Belgian also, and I'm writing. My writing is mostly today I write mostly in Hebrew, and I write mostly for as a freelancer. I'm writing for many newspaper in Israel, magazine, and each one for kind of like a bit different subject. These days I'm writing for the cultural section of Haaretz, which is a very big newspaper in Israel. There I'm focusing mostly of architecture. My stories are mostly like international stories that I find, and I'm writing it to my Israeli audience. So, but it's very worldwide topics. And parallel to this, I also write for some blog, which called City. Well, it's in Hebrew, so I need to translate myself. But it's actually it's urbanist, like urbanism blog. That there I'm writing many pieces about. It's more like a professional kind of like writing. So I have this kind of like more mainstream writing about architecture, about urban stuff, topics that I do, and also I have more professional that like the audience is much more people coming from the field, architects, urbanists, urban planners. So it's very diverse, and I must say that my topics that I'm writing about are very, very different each time. So sometimes it will be focusing on a specific like big topic, which can be like urban big topic, like the problem of like housing problems in Europe, about climate change. And sometimes I also can write about small stories about a specific project that was built in Rotterdam. For example, a few months ago, I wrote about a beautiful story about like a bridge that was built in Rotterdam that was funded by the people and not by the city. And also did a very beautiful impact on the city of Rotterdam. So this on the one hand, like this small story, this small project, and on the other end, it can be like I can do interviews with the curator of the Biennale in Venice. So it's like this kind of like different scales, different topics. And yeah, so if you have questions, I would be happy to answer. Or I hope I answered the questions.
That's great. And Amnon recently joined the network. As everybody knows, our network is really growing by week. So it was great to have, I think you might be our first person who's originally from Israel. It'll be so interesting to learn more about Tel Aviv with time as well. And we have a few other people based in Brussels, and I think you might be the first journalist in our network. I'd have to confirm that, but that's exciting to have a journalist.
First.
Yeah, I think for networking within our network too, it's just nice with the ecosystem and being able to have people to tap that are, you know, working in different fields or interested in different fields. But we have some questions. Jeremiah, do you want to ask your questions?
Yeah, sure. First one is for urban hikers. You kind of alluded to the color scheme being yellow and you kind of alluded to like you choose this and all that good stuff. Can you talk more about like how you choose your color schemes and then how you have seen that to help with like engagement on your page or
Yes,
not?
yes. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. So for the meaning of the color itself, it was we were trying to find something prime color. So yellow and black seem to stand out quite easily, and as far as symbolism around it, so you know, is optimism, is also significant of caution, because the act of walking in a non-walkable city is a one second. Yeah, non-walkable city is a. So there's also that element. There's a caution associated and a creativity due to the intellectual exchange that take place on the walk. So I think yellow is sort of representative of all those interesting elements in a nutshell. And I can't. It was unconscious early on. We need something bright, but there was also a consciousness sort of emerge part of it was just a good fit for the idea, because we were sort of a moving vehicle, and so yes, in a nutshell, so it is and also what it does is also help people recognize as slightly more tangibly. In the past, where I can just have a yellow dot, it's much easier. Oh, urban hiker. So there was it's good as an identifier, in sense. So also is such a, nobody have a beef with yellow. So yellow seemed to be a universal color that people seem to love it, regardless. Nobody have like a strong opinion against yellow. So that has been kind of my experience. Thank you for the question.
I just thought of like when I saw the yellow, I thought of like hikers, and it kind of made me think about the sunshine, the sun angle in Saskatoon, because like in Saskatoon the sun angle is so close to the ground that when the sun shines, everything is so yellow. And because in the city, our city is currently having some sort of lack of trees in many neighborhoods, so all the buildings was reflected as yellow, and that kind of represents how what I thought about that when I
Beautiful.
when I saw yellow.
Nice.
So you notice that the most when you walk, so it fits right here in the theme.
Yeah, and also each lane, right, is divided by the yellow line as you walk. So it's ubiquitous. It's almost so ubiquitous. It's like it's there. It's everywhere you look at it. Is always there in urban environment from a stop sign. So it's that's interesting.
Absolutely.
Jeremiah has a question for Dominic also.
Yeah, could you speak to your video, since you don't really go with the whole color scheme and all of that good stuff on your page, but your videos still seem to be popular. Would you say it's due to your choice of hashtags or your titling of your videos? What do you think helps with the success of page engagement for you?
I think it's largely due to like how how I present, how I optimize the title. Like, for example, in the first video you saw here, don't give up on North American cities. I put the don't in caps lock. It's basically it's maybe because it's a counter argument video, and it was a really hot topic as it was going on, hence the reason why it blew up so quickly. I also have and with other short videos on Instagram, I believe the hashtags is really the key, especially with popular hashtags like urban planning, urban design, and sometimes I do tag popular accounts that talk specifically about this topic. Like, for example, I tag pedestrian space in many of my videos about walking. I also tag pedestrian dignity, have a go city, and earthly education. Like, for example, this video about the difference between driving and commuting by car over here. I think it's also not just the title, but the thumbnail also played a huge role in making this video a success, because it clearly showed two different experience. It shows two different images, hence why you see people feel that it's attractive, and they're like, it's something that not many people has talked about, so that's why they clicked on that video. And especially and now that Instagram and many other video platform is also trying to be an SEO, so I also put titles, I also put text on the screens from time to time, so that people can read those texts and it somewhat retain their attention. So the text and the title is really the key to my viewership. And I think, like, ever since I got to I get to connect with other urbanist content creators, it also helped me to collab with them. And a lot of times those collaborations is like a boost of views for both of us. It basically, like, my audience get to know their channel, and their audience get to know my channel. So it's a win-win situation as well.
Dom, can I ask a follow up to that?
Oh, sure.
With the page tagging, because our page tends to get tagged a lot, and I kind of get annoyed by certain points with certain things. But do you seek approval before you tag, or you just tag all these pages and they've never blocked you, so you just keep it going?
I would just ask first. Like, when I was smaller, when I was like a smaller channel, I never tag them. I just like mention them in the caption, in the title, or like in the caption of the videos. But now that I'm a bigger channel, I just like ask them first and tag, and then or I would tag channels that say, please tag us in your videos about examples. Like, for example, pedestrian dignity included specifically said on the TikTok that tag us in your videos about walking experiences. So any videos that I made before that relate to walkability, or like showing a bad example or good example of walking infrastructures, I always tag them.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Should I answer here the question?
Jeremiah, you have a question for Amnon too. Do you wanna ask it so we get it on the video?
Yeah. So when it comes to interviewing people, we try to get interviews out of people around, the urban built environment, all that good stuff. And it's kind of hard for us, or to get someone to say yes to give an interview. How has your experience been with that? And how do you go about getting interviews for your work?
So I must say that it was a surprising question, because I think this is like the most easiest part in my work. Most of the people, I have a 10 years experience in writing articles, and I think maybe one or two people denied or didn't want to be interviewed. Most of the people want publicity, also if it's a bad publicity sometimes, or if they don't know what I'm going to write about, because sometimes I don't give my tone. I'm not saying if it's going to be a positive article or a negative article, but still people are willing to talk, willing to publish their their opinion or their work. It depends on the article, but I think it depends what kind of media you are. I would say that for mainstream media, which is newspaper, websites in the internet, most of the people would say yes, of course, I want my name to be there. But if it might be like a magazine, I don't know. It depends like the size of the media. If it's like I don't know, for TikTok or stuff like this, which is also like kind of like communication, maybe people will refuse because they don't know how to do it or they don't want to show their face. But I'm writing, and people most of the time willing to talk. And also I will add that as my work as a journalist, I focus mostly on positive articles. It's true that of course there is sometimes bad stuff going on, but me specifically, I like to write stories that makes people hope. If it's about like new technology for climate change, or like amazing project, like urban project that I'm writing about. So yeah, I'm focused on positive writing actually, which is in our words, like most of the time that we open the websites, we see like only the bad stuff. So I focus on the good stuff.
Thank you.
Yes.
So one thing I also want to add to the like the title of the video is also like the location of the title in that video, especially if you're making short form video. Then let's say the video is 1 minute, and most of the times that I've seen, after 3 seconds, I think about 65% of people who are exposed to that video already swipe them away. So you have that 3 initial seconds when making short videos to retain their attention. I think like if you successfully retain the attention of those people in that first 3 seconds, then there is a slight chance that they will keep watching until the 15 seconds. And if you keep those people engaged within that next 15 seconds, then they will tend to watch the whole video. Then there's a higher chance they'll watch the whole video.
Nice. Perhaps I have a question for Dominic. The core majority of the core audience is people on who have interest in city planning, or are you regular citizen? As being the distributions?
So when I first started, it was mainly to reach people only within the planning background only. But now it's more towards like the regular citizens, because I believe that there's so many terms and definitions in urban planning that have not been known to the public for decades, that should have been known to the public for years but have not. So now I'm trying to target more regular audience as much as I could. And a lot of times those video blew up because a lot of people found those videos to be helpful, or like they never thought about that concept, but then now they got exposed, so they share that videos to people. So and this ultimately resulted in some very like harmful comments, like toxic or like mean comments from time to time, because people don't believe in changes. They don't believe in such ideologies just because they have never seen that. And every time I saw those comments, like it does feel like somewhat discouraging, but it's also a sign of my content has reached a larger group of audience, and that's a good sign that they are learning.
No, good. And perhaps another follow-up question: how do you deal with sort of a push by curriculum or emerging the idea to the public? How do you how has been your experience dealing with it?
So I often don't reply to those comments because a lot of times like there are some comments that are just like really mean, and I can see that like they're just trying to like engage with me. They're just trying to like starting an argument with me, and to be honest, like I don't have that much time to like sit down and write comments. So a lot of the time I just ignore. Some of my other like supporters or followers will from time to time I will see them reply to those comments and they will just like start the argument, but I don't normally engage in them.
Okay.
Like it just basically good for my health and sanity after all. You gotta keep a boundaries. Gotta keep a boundary.
As we're coming up to the end, I have questions for all three of the featured members. Since we're almost at the end, though, we got to keep it brief. But the future of your, I mean, I understand some of you might not have specific plans, some of you might. Just what the future of what you, I think about the beginnings of pedestrian space. If I, could look ahead at what's been going on since, it's exciting. And so, thinking about how you'd like to grow, some things you'd like to do, any projects, what you're working on, anything you'd like to share.
I can go. So currently I have like a list of scripts of videos, of longer videos that I want to make, explaining the economics of single family homes. I want to like touch more on topics that is kind of like in the bottom of the iceberg, because so far I've been talking about like the problems everyone can see, like bad bike lanes, congestions, cars, pollution, heat, urban heat island effects. But I want to talk about some more unknown problems, some problems that people don't care about or like they sweep under the rug. For example, the insane cost of single family housing and insane cost of urban sprawl, why industrial buildings are, it's like basically I'm trying to like expose some of the bad practices of urban planning and like the consequences of them that our current generations is having to endure. And I may try to start a podcast. So in my idea list that I'm having on my screen right here, there's literally like a podcast series talking about the cities that will be hosting the World Cup in 2026. So the World Cup 2026 male football will be hosted in Canada, the US, and Mexico across 16 cities. And I think this will be a collaboration series with other urbanist content creator to be a podcast, just reviewing the transit system, reviewing the cities that will be hosting those World Cup. Is that easy for tourists to get around? Is it easy for fans to stay, to find accommodations, and to enjoy the city?
Beautiful. Yes. Perhaps I'll go. Is the same. So my work in future is create more accessibility. What do you mean? Majority of the YouTube video video people watch on YouTube is the how-to, and that's sort of formulated to the curiosity of people to extend themselves. So that kind of the same work I want to do into allow people to use best tools, how to explore environments and just how to explore new environments and be part of a community, and mainly walking, which is I think is by far the best way to explore new places to have high resolution. So in the future is helping community, fostering those tools in different places, because we constantly migrated. There's a constantly shift of engaging a new environment. So how to accelerate belonging is to really finding effective tools to engage in new places. So that is kind of the work in creating network of people and community to explore their environment effectively in the most with the best tools they can possibly have.
And maybe I will really say shortly that in my opinion, I mean, I'm not sure if it's the future of the present, but we see much more domination on social media and podcasts regarding urban journalism. Yeah, of course, we see it a lot, and we have today amazing podcasts related to architecture, urban life, housing, and everything that's related. So, and I hope the traditional writing journalism for urban stories, architecture will still be in the future, because I still need to earn some money for it. So it would be nice, but we will see.
Nice.
Thank you all for your time. That's a wrap, and we really appreciate it. Look forward to continuing to follow all of your content. And until next time, we have more of these coming up. Thanks for your time and sharing your media philosophies.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.